Now on SportsCenter, today's NFL developing story, tracking Marshawn Lynch's likely return to Seattle. Now that the Seahawks are running out of running backs, new comments from Pete Carroll ahead. Plus the aftermath of the Dallas disaster against the Eagles. The Mort report on what it will take for Jason Garrett to save his job with the Cowboys. Also, the Browns' rock bottom. New comments from Freddie Kitchens on Cleveland's playoff elimination and taking the temperature of the NFL coaching hot seats. And counting down to Monday Night Football with the Packers and Vikings of the city of Green Bay is tweaking the truth to keep their rivals out of their head.
No man on the Minnesota Vikings.
This is Green Bay. We're not playing a Vikings song, no.
It's not technically a Vikings song. No. It's got the Vikings in it because she's from. We'll talk about that later. Welcome into SportsCenter alongside Zuba Mahente. I'm Jay Harris. We're getting you set for Packers and Vikings tonight, but we begin with big news out of Seattle.
No question about it. The Pacific Northwest might be trading candy canes for Skittles very soon. This is a developing story, and sometimes when it's Week 17, you don't have many options. Could the Seahawks be bringing back beast mode? One word or two. Pete Carroll confirming today it's, quote, a really good chance. That's 3 words. The Seahawks will do it. Parts of 6 years in Seattle. Reportedly considered retirement, but never put in the paperwork, did Lynch. The Seahawks have 1 running back right now, Travis Homer, on their roster. They also might be looking to bring back Robert Turbin, who, along with Lynch, is a former Seahawk. So how did we get here? Well, it was a really bad post-game press conference for Pete Carroll yesterday when he had to announce Chris Carson was out for the season with a fractured hip. He's top 5 in the NFL in rushing. And Carson wasn't the only running back who sustained a season-ending injury. Yesterday, C.J. Prosise stepped into the number 2 role behind Carson, broke his arm, and so he is done. Rashad Penny is done. Pete Carroll, in moments, will tell you exactly what the return of Marshawn Lynch could mean. But Penny was leading them in average yards per rush. No Carson, no Prosise, no Penny. Here's Pete on beast mode.
I'm fired up for it, and he's got to get through some hoops he's got to jump through here, physical and stuff like that. But he's been working really hard. He's really excited about the chance to do something, helping out, and I think it's freaking great. If he can get out there and tote the ball for us, the circumstances rolled just at this time, and he could have 4 or 5 games left in him. Maybe that's what we need.
What kind of role is realistic for somebody who hasn't been playing this season when the running back room has changed as much as
Big.
it has the last 24 hours?
That's just called a big role. We're gonna run football, and we got to do what we got to do, and so that we can fit a game together. And so somebody's going to be toting it. There's a lot of history here that's great history, and there was nobody that ever amplified the kind of mentality and toughness that we like to play with. And so if we get a chance to get the beast back on the field, we'll see how that works out.
Well, if you didn't know, Marshawn Lynch is one of the best running backs in Seahawks history. His 57 rushing touchdowns trails only Shaun Alexander, while his 4 Pro Bowls were the most of any running back in franchise history. And according to our friends at Elias, since 1970, no former Pro Bowl running back has made his season debut in Week 17. Now, the 5-time Pro Bowler played for the Oakland Raiders each of the past 2 seasons before saying he'd retire this past April, though he's yet to file his paperwork. Lynch, who's 33, ran for 376 yards and 3 touchdowns in 6 games with the Raiders last season. Senior NFL insider Chris Mortensen is here. Pete Carroll has confirmed that Marshawn is in Seattle. What more can you tell us about this story?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Pete directly, but we heard him on his that radio show saying that, hey, Marshawn, they were excited about it. He's been working hard. I don't know how he verified how hard he's working, but at the same time, he's a guy who's certainly going to energize that team after what was a bad loss to Arizona where they got beat up. And, as you said, Rashad Penny gone, C.J. Prosise gone, Chris Carson gone. He does have to jump through some hoops. What are those hoops? Well, upon signing, and he hasn't been with the team this preseason, he'll have to pass a PED test and a substance abuse test, or he's tested, and then the results will come in at some point. So that's part of jumping through some hoops. But they fully expect him to be in uniform and probably starting. Now, when they lost Rashad Penny, they tried out Robert Turbin and Alfred Blue were 2 of the backs that they tried out at that time. C.J. Anderson, who a lot of people are talking about, we reached out to him. He says, I'm good, I'm fine, in terms of not being with the team right now.
Okay, Mort, you hang tight. Be back to you in a second. Zubin, over to you.
Jay, thank you very much. Obviously, Beast Mode is going to have to run behind an offensive line, and one of the great offensive linemen from his time, Jeff Saturday, is here. So kind of take me inside the locker room, run me through the challenges inserting Lynch into the lineup means for him personally and then the team collectively.
Yeah, I think from the, you're at a situation where it's desperation. I mean, you've lost back, so you're not getting them back. You're tackled. Brown is out, at least for this week, possibly for even further. So for an offensive line, you're trying to find any able body that you feel like can bring a spark. Marshawn Lynch will bring you a spark, right? Beast mode, and I don't know how many touches he gets. Is it running back by committee? I will say this, though, from a protection perspective, lining up and stopping a guy from blitzing or having to meet a defensive end if there's slide protection, he will square you up. I mean, that is a guy he's never been afraid to stick his face in it. For an offensive lineman, you love it, all right? I mean, you want that guy who wants to tote it on 3rd and 1 and who wants to help pass protect because it makes everybody look better. So from a locker room perspective, you're going to appreciate Marshawn Lynch and the attitude that he brings from that running back position to your football team.
Okay, I want you to hang tight. We're going to talk about a big game from yesterday in just a bit. But first, game 256. As you know, Jeff, and as many fans know, there's a ton on the line here between Seattle and San Francisco. Boil it down like this. 49ers win on Sunday Night Football, the final game of the regular season. They're the top seed. Seattle, meanwhile, can win the division if they win Sunday. And if they can get a Green Bay loss, couple it, they'd secure a first-round bye. Jay, no chance the Cowboys or Eagles are getting one of those.
No, sir. Speaking of, Zubin, with a chance to win the NFC East yesterday, the Cowboys came up short against the Eagles. Their offensive struggles playing a big part. After running the ball 24 times in Week 15, Ezekiel Elliott finished with just 13 carries in the loss to Philly. Dallas has struggled mightily in games where Zeke has failed to record more than 15 rushes, going 1-6 in their last 7 games when Zeke has 15 or fewer carries. But it wasn't just Zeke. Dak Prescott attempted 44 passes despite shoulder issues during the week. He was not able to consistently get anything going deep, finishing the game with 9 incompletions on throws, 15-plus yards downfield, the most in his career. Quite possibly the biggest question from yesterday is why wasn't Amari Cooper on the field for 4th down on what ended up being the Cowboys' final offensive drive of the game? Here's Jason Garrett on that final play.
Towards the end of the ball game, we started rotating Tavon Austin in to the game, particularly when we got into those situations where we're on the ball a lot. The play that we had called for the 4th down play was one that we used 12 personnel. We wanted Witt and Blake to be in there together. That's why Randall Cobb was out in that situation. Then we left Tavon outside. The matchup we wanted was the one we got. We wanted MG on the corner on the left-hand side. We anticipated getting that look if they were playing that coverage, and unfortunately we weren't able to convert the play.
After dominating the Eagles in their previous 3 matchups, Dak and Amari just could not get it going yesterday. Prescott went 4 of 12 targeting Cooper. The 8 incompletions were tied for the most Cooper has seen on his targets in his career. Mort's back with us now. You wouldn't know it from all the talk, the bleak talk surrounding the Cowboys, but they have a chance, a very realistic shot to make the playoffs. But what impact will next week's result have on Jason Garrett and his future with that franchise?
Well, what they've lost is controlling their own destiny. If the Eagles lose to the Giants and they beat the Redskins, yeah, they're going to win the NFC East. And then if they should win in the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs, then we'll maybe have a different narrative on Jason Garrett, who is without a contract when this season ends. And Jerry Jones did not sound real engaging or optimistic about Jason Garrett or anything or anybody. Now, Jerry doesn't like to be uncomfortable. Last time I saw him make a hire way outside the box is when he brought in Bill Parcells. Because nobody could imagine that Bill Parcells and Jerry Jones would work together, but they work together, and they work together beautifully. And I guess what I'm saying is I think it's a slim chance for Jason Garrett to survive unless they win this division and get deep to the playoffs. Then I think he would have a chance.
We'll see what happens in Week 17 first. Mort, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jay.
Zubin?
Mort always bringing it, and yesterday, so did Carson Wentz. 31 for 40, 349, and a touchdown, and most importantly, Wentz took care of the football. That had been a big-time concern. He had turned it over at least once in 5 straight games. Clean football game on Sunday. Head coach and former Eagles quarterback Doug Peterson on the current stud.
Yeah, Carson, I tell you, the way he's leading this football team right now and the way he's playing, these guys they're busting their tail for Carson, and Carson is trusting them, and giving them every opportunity to make plays. What he's done with his team, kind of the team on his shoulders and put us in this position to, obviously, win the NFC East is awesome for your quarterback to do.
As Mort said, it's there for the taking with a win. Jeff is back, as we mentioned. What stood out to you the most when watching Carson Wentz Sunday?
He put the team on his shoulders. I mean, you just watch him will his team to win. I will say, in saying that, you're watching a group of young players. Ward Jr., who makes the play on the out and up to make it. Miles Sanders, who has played really good football the last couple weeks. Everybody's getting more comfortable. Even Dallas Goedert, the catch he makes for the touchdown, he snatches that thing out of the air. I mean, just an incredible play. And so I think everybody else around him is getting comfortable simultaneously with him playing at a level that we all kind of expected from the beginning of the season. But, I mean, for him to take on the challenges that he has, and people have come at him all year, hadn't been his most productive year. And honestly, this is his first real opportunity at the latter part of a season, right? And we always talk about Foles taking over and win the Super Bowl and all that kind of thing. So for him, this is his first real opportunity to lead his team in these moments. And he has made some big-time throws. Again, 319 yards, a touchdown. The no picks is just a beautiful thing for him. And so as you're looking at this football team, you can tell there's a belief. You heard Doug Peterson talk about the guys in the locker room believe in him. That's contagious, right? That's infectious in a locker room. When all the guys start believing, hey, I can get my job done, my role is going to be fulfilled by me, and you can see him, man. The confidence it's just gaining each and every week. Big game against the Giants coming up, which is tough to go into New York and get that win. But, it's all on the line, man. They got everything in front of them. They now control their own destiny. So pretty fun to watch for Carson Wentz to kind of ascend at this time of the season.
It's a great point. Wentz was the reason they got the #1 seed after that great regular season. He got hurt at the end in their Super Bowl run. So now, can he go from a great regular season to a great postseason? TBA. We'll find out Sunday. Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.